believe. See me drinking tears for water. You're not here with me. Say I am the fool, but should never let you go away. Call me what you will, but honey, don't you ever stray. And if the sun comes up and the air to breathe, but still. What's going on, good people?
Hey.
Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for that good.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we got a conversation that we started a couple of weeks ago. Got great feedback from the peoples about it. So we knew we were going to do a part 2. So for those of y'all that pulled up for that Love is Blind part 2, that's next week. That's next week. It's not this week. It's
that's
next
the finale.
week. Yeah, when they get the finale released, we'll do all that. But today, we back for this second part of this conversation. And I'm Lloyd Spence.
I'm Kenyatta Spence.
And this is I Still Do. And I'm draped up and dripped out in this beard, yo. You feel me? Now, before we start with the program, I got to do something that I have to do this, Mama Noise. I got to give my peoples some love. Shout out to my guys, the Western Warriors. The Warriors!
Woo-woo.
Yo. Went over there, got with them boys on Greenwood Road, the Rockford Lane boys. Shout out to Lil Hink. Shout out to Morgan. Shout out to the crew. Got that 69-68 win.
Oh,
We about to head to that Lex. That's what we setting up for.
Oh,
We ain't there yet, but we headed in the right direction is what I'm saying.
okay.
Shout out to the guys. All right, I had to give y'all some love. All right.
All right, fam.
All right. We picking up where we left off, man.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So what's going on? Talk to the people about
We're talking a part 2 about the 5 languages of an apology.
Right.
You know, it's so peculiar how I remember back in the day when I approached our pastor about this book when it came out. I said, man, this is something. I think this needs to be something to be talked about. And he was like, 5 languages of an apology. Like, you know, what's that all about? And I was just saying how passionate I felt about this book, The 5 Languages of Apology by Gary Chapman and Jennifer Thomas. And how important I felt that it was, because I remember, as we talked about on the week before last, that as children we've been taught to just apologize by, you know, just giving them the words, just saying, say you're sorry.
Right.
And kids just repeat what we told them to say.
Right.
But never helping them to understand the is they're doing, instead of just copying what I.
What's the first one?
The first language of apology is to express regret.
Okay.
You know, like when you say I'm sorry, but we've been taught to just.
But we'll get to that in a minute. Give them the thing first.
Oh, give them the languages? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then number 2 is accepting responsibility. For instance, I was wrong.
Okay.
About the offense.
Okay.
Number 3, making restitution. What can I do to make it right?
Okay.
And number 4, genuinely repenting, and I'll try not to do that again.
Okay. And then what's the 5th one?
And the 5th one is requesting forgiveness. Will you please forgive me?
All right. So full disclosure, while I do agree that an apology is a very important part of any healthy relationship, whether it's friendship, whether it's marriage, whatever, dating, whatever. I don't know. We talked about this at the last show. my struggle with this book is that an apology starts with your understanding of what you did wrong or your acceptance of what you did wrong. And so, you know, I don't know if we always know what that is. So I added some questions myself, Mama Noise. And my first question to you is, should you ever apologize when you haven't done anything wrong?
You know, that is so bananas that you happen to say that, because I was just reading that in the book.
Okay.
Let me just give you this example. It said, the person said, the expression of a sincere regret should not manipulate the other person into reciprocating. So, you know how we've been taught, like, I say I love you, and then you're supposed to say it back to me.
Okay.
When somebody says they love you, they don't have to say it back to you. I mean, you would want them to, but you don't want it to be by force. You want them to do it genuinely.
Right.
So this Doug and Nancy said they had been dating for 2 years and they were going through some rough times.
Doug and Nancy.
And so she said Doug has at times said he was sorry, but then he expects me to say it back, even if I don't feel like I should have to, because he was the one that caused the fight in the first place.
So let's stop right there. You can close that book up right on that spot. Nancy, you on some bullshit.
She said, I didn't do
Talking about you ain't caused the fight. Doug just in there fighting by himself.
She said, you started it.
Nancy, you on some bullshit. I censor this show because it's during the day, but if y'all come to Uncorked Wine tonight, I might say it differently.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nancy on some bullshit. You know that ain't true. Kenyatta. Doug just in there fighting by himself.
No.
Okay then.
No, but
that's like, terrible advice.
Like, you came in kicking down the door, so I think you need to be the one.
Listen. Most people do not. Okay. Oh, I wish we could get into some of the Love Is Blind, because this is perfect for this conversation.
We can, because the finale is next week, so it's not like.
Well, but I don't want to get too deep because we're talking about apologies.
Okay,
but here's the point that I'm trying to make. We just watched last night, as we were watching and getting our research in for the show. We watched that girl start 3 arguments in a row.
Oh, okay. If you can use that as an example.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So she wanted him to apologize. Come on, man.
And we're watching going.
Like, he ain't done nothing wrong. Okay, so that's my point of the question that I asked. Should you be apologizing when you ain't done nothing wrong? The answer to that is I don't think you should. But
which was old girl's point in the book.
It was. But here's the other reality.
Okay.
If we're in an argument about 2 interpretations of something that has happened, then that means it's not a matter of who did something wrong as much as what is being said and how it's being perceived. So if I say something that offends you, whether you think you offended me or not, or whether I think I offended you or not, I need to apologize and own what I said.
Okay.
So Nancy done said some nonsense to Doug. She owed Doug an apology.
But she said she didn't start it.
It don't matter if you started it, Nancy.
So it doesn't matter that you started it. You should just do it on GP.
Listen, you know how many times in our marriage, over the history of our marriage, that I've apologized to you and I felt like I didn't do nothing wrong? You know how many times that has happened?
It wasn't authentic?
No, it was authentic. But here's the thing.
If you say it because I didn't do nothing wrong, so I just did it just be.
No, that's not true. Here's the other side of apologizing in a marriage to me. And even in a friendship sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes I just want peace. And sometimes that peace means more to me than my pride of holding on to whether I think I offended you or not. So if me apologizing is going to get us closer to peace, then I'll apologize.
But is that authentic.
And y'all make sure y'all put in the chat if y'all agree or disagree.
Okay, because I'm saying, is that authentic apology if you're saying, I'm just doing it to get the peace?
Listen, it is absolutely authentic because I want peace.
But now,
don't you want peace?
Full disclosure, Mr. NOIZ. Now, I've been married to you going on 23 years next month in 2 weeks. When I apologize trying to get the peace, you be like, you ain't having it. Because you know that I'm just trying to get the peace, but
that's true.
You're saying that ain't. I don't know what you did that for because you don't even know why you apologize. No, I don't. But I'm trying to get the peace.
Okay, but see, when I apologize, even though I'm trying to get the peace, I still know why I'm apologizing. I know why I'm apologizing because you're saying I offended you. Mm-hmm. So there's no reason for me to hold on to. Excuse me. There's no reason for me to hold on to my pride. Acting like I didn't offend you. Listen, just because I feel like you misinterpreted the way I may have said something, that doesn't mean that you're not offended. So It doesn't matter my perception. It only matters your perception. And so you've told me that. You can't tell me how to feel. No. That's actually true. I can't tell you how to feel. Okay. So I can tell you what my intent was. And I can tell you what I meant for you to hear as opposed to what you heard, but I can't tell you how to feel. So if I can't tell you how to feel, and the only thing standing in the way of peace in our house and resolution to this situation is my simple putting my pride aside and apologizing, I can do that. What it sounds like our girl Nancy don't want to do, she don't want to put her pride aside and apologize to Doug.
Well, it says she said that didn't work for her because she didn't start it in the first place. And she said, I want him to say he's sorry and not expect anything.
That's pride. That's pride.
And that would mean, then to her, that would mean he's truly sorry because he's not expecting her to say it in return.
Okay, so that's the equivalent of you smacked me first, I smacked you second. We both smacked each other, but I don't have to apologize for my smack because you smacked me first.
I'm just saying this
that don't make sense.
This is Nancy.
Okay, does Doug need to apologize? Yes. Doug got to own his
and just be done with it because he's the one that started.
Doug got to own his part that he played.
I think that's all she's asking.
Okay, but then don't get in your feelings
but
about.
Like, why do I gotta apologize if Doug
because you smacked Doug too with your words? Right, Nancy ain't trying to have her peace. Nancy trying to win, and therein lies the problem. Thank you, Anthony Bruce. A lot of times in these conversations, this is not about resolution or peace. This is about wins and losses. And some people will stand on their thought process to pummel the other person just to get the win, just to be able to walk away from the conversation and say, I am the victor. Well, you didn't win. If my partner walks away deflated, you didn't win. That's my thought process to the thing. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, let me give you just a little bit more of this.
I'm sick of Nancy.
Okay, we moved on from Nancy and Doug. We already did stuff. So, in other words, it says here, sometimes we hurt people and don't realize we've hurt people. Here's an example. Good relationships are fostered by expressing regret even when we didn't intend to hurt someone. Like, for instance, if you bump into somebody at the elevator, you immediately say, I'm sorry. Not because I intentionally bumped into them, but because I identify with this inconvenience or irritation of an unintentionally bumping into somebody.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying to you. Because here's the reality. And I appreciate the book. This is a beautiful book. It's a beautiful book. Here's the reality. Do you want to win or do you want peace? Is an apology for the last piece to get the win, or is an apology the first step to having peace back and restored into your?
It's the first step then. Because first of all, that they're even talking. You know, like what we talked about. I hate to keep bringing up a Beloved is Blind, but you know, the first thing they did was the first step was okay. They weren't even talking.
Right.
So to make the first step into, are you ready to talk?
Right.
That's a big deal because they can say, no, I am not ready to talk.
Right.
And could be carrying this silence on for a little bit longer.
Right.
But
so to answer that question that we were talking about, should you apologize?
Oh yeah, these are your questions.
Yeah. Well, should you ever apologize when you haven't done anything wrong? Or because normally you haven't done anything wrong is perception. In my opinion,
in your mind,
I haven't done anything wrong. And sometimes it is true that you haven't done anything wrong. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might be arguing with the ghost in the room. See what I did there? But the apology brings opportunity for resolve and healing. And sometimes that's, and to me, I ain't gonna say sometimes, to me, that is far more important than the win. Mm-hmm. So I remember, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if I ever told you, maybe I have, I don't know.
Okay.
But I know I've told this to other men because they needed this information. Mm-hmm. When we first got married, my beautiful wife had just given her life to the Lord, and she was a little rough around the edges. Mm-hmm. And slick with the mouth.
That was a nice way for you to say it.
It was a nice way to say it because I love you.
It wasn't. I was more than rough.
She was a little slick with the mouth, and she'd be saying some little slick, ish from time to time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you something. There were times we get into these discussions, somewhat heated in nature, and she would go off to the room, try to slam a door. Or not really slam the door. You really wasn't no door slammer. No. You was more like you'll close it and try to shut me out or whatever, but you wouldn't slam it or whatever. Well,
I think the bigger thing was that I just leave the room.
You leave the room, yeah.
That was more. No.
Yeah, you wasn't no door slammer. No. But you try to leave the room like the conversation was just over. You didn't have to deal with it no more.
I don't know if that was it.
Well, my interpretation.
Oh, okay.
But my thing was, I'd be heated, and a lot of times in them early years, I knew what we was arguing about. I was right. I knew I was right. And God would be like, "Nah, Playboy, you got to go apologize." Say, nah, Playboy. It was similar to Playboy. He was like, "Player, you got to go apologize." And I'd be arguing with God, like, "God, why I got to go apologize?" And what it was doing, I didn't know it at the time, but what it was doing was it was teaching a young Christian girl what true repentance looked like. And I didn't know that. I didn't realize that and what humility looked like. Because you live your life and you don't have to ever be accountable to your actions, then you never will be accountable to your actions. But God was like, no, you got to mirror the behavior that you want to see. And so I had to apologize a lot. And I was like, when is this going in? Because like in that first couple of years, 3-4 years, it seemed like I was just like, God would be like, but I noticed something.
Okay.
Every time I would do it, she would also apologize. And I'd be like, okay, that's fair. That's right. But see, Anthony Bruce, you're right. I was rough around the edges too. But here's what I didn't understand. By getting her to go to that level of apology and getting her kind of to a place where she understood that, now I got a chance to see my wrongs in the process as well. And I started seeing, I ain't as locked into these answers as I thought I was.
I was going to say, newsflash, the best man from the wedding chimes in and says, these are facts.
These are facts. I wasn't listening. But see, that's the key to the whole thing, which is what makes the not apologize. I will bite your forehead.
Thank you, Tony Bruce. I'm sorry.
Because here's the reality. The key to the whole thing is that we're supposed to be sharpening one another. And that we need to understand that ain't nobody in none of this perfect. So once we understand that, the apology should never be that hard to get.
But see, I think coming in, I felt that you were perfect.
Well, I don't know who told you that.
No, I'm saying that because you were the Christian man who'd been in church your whole life. And so I felt like here I am coming in as, the wretch undone.
No, I wasn't perfect. I was just ahead.
But see, you were far ahead.
I wasn't as far ahead as you thought I was. You thought I was far ahead.
Mm.
Time has revealed that I wasn't that far ahead of you.
Well, okay.
I mean, just being real. I wasn't that far ahead. Listen, the only difference that between the two of us at that time was that I had committed my life to the Lord. But I was still struggling with issues and still struggling with, choices.
But see, in my mind, I'm thinking because you were so far ahead that, man, it's like if you watching a race and you see the person who's already at the point where they're ready to switch batons and you like, I ain't even there yet. So that person's already got the jump on me to get to the finish
But
line.
I'm going to tell you what it was like for you. This is my humble opinion. You showed up thinking you were behind when the truth of the matter is, I don't know who told that lie, Andy. I don't know. But hold on. Let me tell you what it was like. I'm using your same analogy of the race.
Okay.
You showed up at the track seeing me running and said, oh my God, I'm behind. What you didn't know was I'd only just started that race. I'd only run like a lap.
Yeah, but you had been lapping for years.
No, I hadn't. It just looked like I had. That's my point. I looked like I was ahead of you because I was already running. Okay. But I wasn't. I wasn't that far ahead of you. Okay. In my understanding of certain things, in my understanding of how marriage, I certainly wasn't ahead of you in my understanding of how marriage worked because I never, other than my grandparents, I hadn't seen a healthy marriage.
Okay.
So I didn't know what a healthy marriage really looked like. Okay. Well, I take that back. I had a couple of glimpses of healthy marriages.
Parents of your friends.
Parents of my friends. Shout out to the Bells. Shout out to Reverend Austin. Shout out to Mama Cole and them. I saw glimpses of healthy marriages in those three marriages. Mm-hmm. So, but we out here guessing most days. Okay. So I wasn't that far ahead of you, So anyway, so that's my thought there. So I got another question for you. Mm-hmm. Can a relationship or / friendship survive without a real apology?
No.
Dang. If I had that damn button, I'd be like, damn.
It's true.
Why you say that?
Because everybody wants a person to acknowledge that there was an offense.
Say that again. I gotta think that through. Everybody wants a person
to acknowledge
there was an offense. That there was an offense. Why? If we all know there was an offense.
But that means that you're holding yourself accountable.
Do we want people to acknowledge that there was an offense, or do we want people to acknowledge their role in the offense?
Oh yeah, their role.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood. Okay,
their role, because and they want them to hold themselves accountable.
Okay.
So
is that really true though?
What?
That we all want people, because it seems like most people approach an apology with this in mind. Look what you did to me. Shame on you. You are the reason why I'm this way. Mm-hmm. They see this part right here. Mm-hmm. They never see this part right here.
The part that points back to them?
The three part, the three things that are pointing back to them.
Those three fingers?
Yeah. Because think about this. In every offense, you have to think about this. Mm. Why were you offended? What were you offended about? And is this something you should have been offended about? So here's what I mean by that.
Okay.
If I say something to you that's reckless, mm-hmm. but that reckless statement is tied to not something that I've historically done in our relationship, mm-hmm. but it's tied to a past experience. Matter of fact, I'll give you a perfect example.
Okay.
You've said something to me before, mm-hmm. and it hurt me. Like it deeply hurt me.
Oh.
But it hurt me because of the historical nature of the statement.
Oh.
It wasn't something that you have historically said to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that has been said to me. And so I'm now offended because of it coming back up, not because of what you said.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying? For example,
okay.
If you say, "Oh, I can't stand when you do that. You're just so ugly inside." Well, if not that you've said that, baby, you haven't said that.
I was going to say, I don't remember.
I don't remember saying you never said that.
Okay.
But I'm using that as an example. So let's say you're ugly inside is something that I used to always hear from my parents.
Oh, okay.
You're ugly inside.
Mm-hmm.
You're just an ugly person inside. So now I'm immediately offended by what you said. Not because you meant what you said, but because what you said is connected to what they said, and I never heal from that pain.
Okay.
So so sometimes I'm looking at that part of it and I'm going, okay, is an apology can our relationship survive you apologizing for that? Because if you apologize for that, but I'm not healed, an apology ain't gonna do much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, it makes sense. If you're not healed from the past,
then I'm gonna end up apologizing for this for the rest of my life.
Because we never deal with
Because every time, right? Because every time we touch this area, there's a propensity for me to offend you in this area, and you've not healed from that area, so the chances of me offending you are pretty strong.
True.
So how do we get past this if you haven't healed, or if I haven't healed? If I'm carrying around some old stuff, I'm gonna tell you something. This is a full disclosure moment. We need like a thing. Full disclosure.
Okay.
My wife, when we first got married, had a certain way she used to handle certain things, like tense moments. And I would be like so frustrated because I'm like, God, it seems like you can't handle nothing tense. It's like you be freaking out, this, that, and the other, and carrying on. I'm like, okay, I ain't just gonna tell you nothing. I'm just not gonna tell you nothing no more. When we first got married, she'd be freaking out and trying to find a solution and just get on my nerves. So about 7, 8, 9 years into our marriage.
Dang, it takes 7 to 8 to 9 years?
Well, sort of, but just let me finish the story.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to celebrate you.
Oh, okay.
So about 7, 8, 9 years into our marriage, we started going through some really hard times. And I didn't tell her about it. I just dealt with it. And she came to me, and she's a whole different person now. And she said, "Hey, Hope." She said, "Hey, what's going on?" And I said, "Don't worry about it." She said, "No, I want to know what's going on." I said, "No, you don't." She said, "Lloyd, talk to me." So I told her what was going on. It was like a financial thing. And she said, "Okay, can we pray together?" And I was like, "Yeah, we can pray." But I was kind of low-key pissed at her.
Yeah, we can pray.
Yeah, because I was low-key pissed because I thought she was trying to use it as a cop-out or whatever.
Oh.
So I said, okay. So we prayed about it, whatever. But it didn't sit right with me. And it didn't sit right with her, the prayer. So she came back later and she said, "Can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Why did you want to tell me about this? Why you wait till the last minute where we up against the wall and you didn't tell me?" You remember this moment now? Is it coming back to you a little bit?
I'm still waiting.
Okay, well, anyway, she said, "I'm not the person that I used to be. So we're both connected to this situation. So you don't have to be the Superman. Just tell me what it is. And yeah, I might, feel it a little bit, but at least I know and I can do something about it or I can pray about it." And I said, "Well, okay. Well, I'm going to tell you something. That conversation to me was a pivotal turning point in our marriage because her ability to process it, not freak out, and to help me find solution, man, that meant everything. Because if she ain't panicking no more, I'm not panicking at all. We're going to be able to figure this out. And I'm going to tell you something. I think I started to hear God much clearer from that point on, because I stopped panicking, because my biggest worry wasn't what was happening. My biggest worry was how you were going to receive what was going to happen. Mm. So knowing that you have, but my point is, the fault of all of that was on me. It was my fault, because I did not trust you or trust that you had resolved those issues that were keeping you from seeing it from a balanced, stable place. Okay. And so when we got to that, I was like, okay, well, now we can work together on all of this. And I don't have to just like solve it and then come back to you or whatever. Now, the truth of the matter is, we probably should have been talking about it all along. And I should have been building those muscles up in you, regardless of how hard it was. I was just trying to be the hero, but that's not what marriage requires. A lot of times, men, we feel like we're supposed to be the knight in shining armor and the hero and to save the damsel in distress and this, that, and the other. And the truth of the matter is, if you get her the ladder, she'll climb down. Okay. You know what I'm saying? We think we got to go climb up the ladder, grab her, carry her down. That's not how that really supposed to work. All she really needs is the ladder. Okay. I get it. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I was making it a lot harder than it had to be. But my point of all of this whole conversation is that an apology wouldn't have saved that. Like I did apologize throughout all of it. It wouldn't have helped. What helped was you dealing with the side that you had to deal with and me dealing with the side that I had to deal with. Now, once we did that, we were able to come back and say, hey, I apologize for not cluing you into more stuff. And that apology helped facilitate more healing. So does that make sense? That's a long. Can a relationship, friendship survive without an apology? Yeah. I think that's a hard question, because using my analogy that I just used, because if you don't deal with the stuff in you that created the offense or was offended. But how do you get to that? Because only until an offense has taken place would you even be aware that there was a root cause as to why. And that's true. I think how you get to it is through the constant and consistent, honest dialogue that you have to have as married people. Married people, a lot of times, dance around the harder parts of the conversations that need to be had. And so I don't know how to approach this. I don't know how she's going to feel. I don't want her to be upset. Well, guess what? Some stuff ain't no other. So you can't walk around on eggshells. Listen, in a marriage or relationship, because ultimately you're going to have to deal with those root causes one way or another. I think an apology only becomes necessary in a marriage when both people think that there is a potential for offense to occur. One more time. I think an apology is only necessary in a marriage because both people think that there is a potential for offense to occur. In other words, you hurt my feelings, so I want an apology. You offended me, so I want an apology. You're wrong, so I want an apology. Most times what I've discovered in our marriage, it is not about being right. It is not about being hurting somebody's feeling, winning. It's about understanding. I'd say 90 to 95% of the time, it's about understanding. And so if we're always seeking to understand and to be understood, to me, that has taken the opportunity for offense out of it. because I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to have us to have peace and understanding. If we have those things, then the propensity for somebody to be offended where it leads to an apology is not really there anymore. It's not prevalent like that because that ain't our intent of the conversation. We're not going into a conversation to say some ish that's going to offend somebody to make you have to apologize later.
Wow.
I know that's heavy. Ooh, y'all weren't ready for that.
That was deep. I mean, and then that says to me, that's why when I don't know if it was early years or, but we started having what we call the State of the Union, where we have the talk about things in our marriage. You bringing stuff to the table, not realizing that this is not a opportunity to throw darts, but an opportunity to try to get clarity, understanding, healing, and peace.
But here's the key. Here's the key, and which I'm glad you said that because that brings us to our last question: isn't a apology true healing? And that's a tricky question because I think an apology can only provide the healing that clarity and honesty facilitate. So in other words, if an apology is not rooted in clarity and understanding, it's an empty apology. It's not doing anybody any good. Me saying I'm sorry, but you don't understand. I don't understand why I'm apologizing, or you don't understand what this apology doesn't have a path to help you to feel better about me offending you or how you got offended. It doesn't help. It's not helpful. So here's the trick of the whole thing. I think an apology is a powerful tool if there's understanding and clarity, but but I think it's a dangerous tool without it.
I'm going to tell you something. This is full disclosure.
Full disclosure. There you go.
We had one of our State of the Union conversations. And I said to you something that I have felt in my heart, and I never asked you.
Okay.
And then when I asked you, and then your response blew my mind. I said, Lloyd, you know how much I love flowers. I love flowers.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I absolutely love flowers.
I remember this
And I said, why don't you buy me flowers? Why don't you just randomly, not saying you don't buy me flowers, but I'm saying, why don't you?
I should have bought you flowers.
Why don't you buy me flowers like more than just, Mother's Day or my birthday or whatever.
But I do.
I mean, those holidays. Why don't you,
But I'm
at the grocery store, I'm picking up some wine. Let me give my wife some flowers. Why don't you randomly do it like that? And when you said your reply as to why, it was like.
But you isolating this conversation without full context.
Okay, well, contextually.
Because historically in our marriage,
okay,
I have been the surprise you with flowers guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I wrong? Tell me.
Yeah.
That didn't sound confident.
See, now that's exactly what we're talking about with the apology. If somebody apologizes with "I'm sorry," but they don't say, "You know what?"
I'm just saying, let's clean this up.
You say, "Well, that didn't sound that didn't sound like you."
She didn't clean it up, is what I'm saying.
Okay, then contextually correct.
All right. So historically, throughout the 23 years of our marriage, I've been there, especially early on. But over the years, life started to happen. You start to get busy, and I'll admit that I got definitely there was a patch of our marriage where I'm fathering. So I slipped up. And so I wouldn't say that it was just holiday, but what it was when we first got married compared to what it became, maybe because we had this conversation probably after 18 years of marriage. because we were back here when we had that conversation. That was like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I understood what she was saying in that moment. Because she was saying you used to do this on a regular basis. Because I used to spoil it with flowers all the time, like
cards.
Yeah, all types of, and not holiday stuff. I'm talking about just random.
That's absolutely true.
Right.
I have a big bin of cards that I still have from those times, and I'm a candle person. I was always,
so it was always gifts.
A random little candle and stuff like that, and it was and it wasn't stuff that was, you know, because I don't want nobody to misunderstand it. I'm not the type of person that needs. It wasn't a bunch of brand names. It wasn't a whole bunch. I didn't require shoes and stuff. It was the simple.
Okay, I gotta get back to my response though.
Okay.
Because you was going on.
I'm seeing it in my mind now.
Okay, right. I know you are. So I didn't bring it up for that though. But here's the thing. Okay. I'm setting the thing. Okay. Because what happened is, as we got our other child, and I'm working, and I time and thought process, and necessity. And you're like, okay, I got to get this, I got to get that, I got to do that. So the window between my random thought of go get this random gift started to get bigger. So it felt like it was more holiday based than it was the random times it used to be, right? So I say all that to say this. She started buying her own flowers. And she'd bring them home. Be like, oh, I found some flowers that I wanted. I bought them. I was like, oh, okay. You buy your own flowers now, huh? Okay. So she asked me the question, why you don't never buy me flowers like you used to? You used to buy me flowers. Oh, my goodness, you was buying me flowers.
I do not sound like Shanae. Stop it.
And then you don't buy them no more. Why you don't buy them?
No.
And I said, well, number one, I don't want to be told when to buy your flowers. And number two, you seem to be buying your own flowers.
That's what you know.
How did I say it?
You didn't say none of that.
I didn't say that.
You said you was offended.
I was offended.
And you was holding on to the offense.
I was offended.
Like, I'll fix her for offending me. I won't buy no flowers.
I won't buy no flowers no more. Since you can't wait on me to buy the flowers no more. You just got to have these flowers. I ain't buying no more flowers until I have to buy flowers. I was petty. I'll admit that. I can admit that. I'm a big enough man to admit how petty that ish was. It was petty.
But see, you more seasoned now.
Huh?
You seasoned now. You
I am, but I hope you are too, because the other part of it is this. The question didn't account for the reality of what was taking place. And what I loved about the question, and I loved about the dialogue, it forced us to have a real hard conversation.
But because I was just like waiting and was like, okay, like we just walk, me and you. Now we don't go grocery shopping too much together.
Right.
But when we do, I'm sitting there going, we always pass by the floral department, especially when we go to certain grocery stores. And I'm going, there goes some sunflowers. Why don't he say?
Here's the reality. Your ass is spoiled.
I am spoiled. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Your mother told me from the beginning. She said, if you spoil my son, he's going to expect to be spoiled the rest of his day.
What does that have to do with me?
And I'm saying you started spoiling me from the beginning, bro.
That's true.
From the beginning, bro. Rose petals down the hallway, little chocolate kisses. So I'm thinking that, don't do it. And then one day you read back and said, well, I got you now.
No, but you know what the reality is though. But I'm gonna tell you the reality. Okay. First of all, Duana, do whatever you do to get me, you should do to keep me. Yeah, but that works both ways. So don't bring that energy here.
My sorrow.
Because here's the reality. That works both ways. A lot of y'all made promises and some of you delivered in the beginning.
Yeah.
But as I said earlier, life starts to happen. We start to get busy. We start to get overwhelmed. And we forget that we got to keep it going. So that works both ways. And so
what is the both way? What is the way? What is it that women?
We doing this now?
Now we doing this. We doing this right now. I mean, I have married women on it that want to know what the fizzy.
Okay, all right, we doing
they
this
like,
now.
you know, I didn't get. When you dated me, I got to the. I didn't have to schedule a date night. We was going on dates even in the house, and going to the movies even in the house. You know, you come home, we bring in a little something, and then in the house.
Okay.
Or out. We out holding hands and stuff. Doing all the stuff that
I wasn't doing none of that.
Yeah, you was.
I wasn't doing none of that.
You was.
I was not.
During the dating process, it was the whole night. We walked down Bardstown Road holding hands.
We wasn't holding no hands. Yes. I don't want to hold your hand.
Really? You're doing the most now. And we was doing all of that then.
Okay.
So what is it?
It's the same. Okay, but it's the same thing on both sides.
Okay, but
in the beginning, there were certain things that you were doing at a high clip.
You keep saying certain.
I think you know what some of those things.
So what is it that women are
the sexual stuff?
That's all.
Don't dismiss that like it ain't no big deal.
So what is it? Sex every day?
Well, listen. Brothers was getting it, you know, and surprise stuff.
What kind of surprises?
Oh, I think you know, Mama knows.
Surprise experiences.
Surprise experience. First of all, stop diminishing it. The way you saying it is like it ain't that big of a deal. Niggas know it's a big deal. Niggas know it's a big deal.
Okay, I'm just saying. Okay,
but it's not just the sexual stuff.
It's a big deal.
Hold on. It's not just the sexual stuff.
Okay,
it's everything. It's the intimacy our way. It's you meeting us with the same level of love and intimacy and intensity as we met you, because that's what we're talking about. Ultimately, I mean, we joking, but ultimately, that's what we're talking about. You met me with an intimacy, not just sexual, but also relational and emotional, and intimacy and intensity when we first started. And when in our situation, we kept that going well into the marriage.
Okay.
Like that's our lifestyle.
Right.
But there was a clip when we were going through some tough times. And I think looking back historically, there was like that 4-year clip when we were going through that whole thing, you know, with the hotel and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But
the fact that we were still able to make it work.
Right. Well, but here's the thing. I think that time snatched away some of that truth.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And so I got away from a lot of it during that time. And then when we got back on the uptick, I never went back to some of my old ways.
Well, I think it's like we was in survival mode.
Right. But here's the thing. When you've gone through a tough time and you've survived it, you don't realize sometimes that you survived it and that you're free to pull back some of those good times again. Sometimes you're so scarred from the experience, which I was, that you're like, well, I don't know if I should pinch off it. So now you've been in survival mode for so long, you're not thinking, let me pinch off some of this, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. You're thinking, man, I just want to survive, keep surviving. We winning now.
Yeah.
We ain't got to go through that no more.
Yeah.
So that part, I think that was a big part of it. And then couple that with you looking at us on the other side and going, well, we done survived. So, you know, get back to the way it used to be. And I'm like, well, I'm nervous now. I don't know if I can go back to where it used to be.
But it sounds like you just have to have the conversation.
But we wasn't even having a conversation.
But that's the part.
So when you brought, right. So when you brought the flowers in the house and you was like, I get my own flowers. I don't need you to get my flowers. Okay, then. All right. Because I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I've ever said this part to you. When you brought them flowers in that day, and that's what sparked that conversation, it was as if you were saying to me, I don't really need you like that no more to satisfy my intimacy and to satisfy my emotional joy and all of those things. I'll do this for myself. And that's what offended me, because I'm saying, oh, you don't need me now? I've been fighting for you these last 4 or 5 years. I've been fighting for this family these last 4 or 5 years, and now you don't need me? Now all of the gestures and all of this and all. So that's why I don't buy what you said, DeWanna. And it's not offensive of that part. Whatever you do to got to get me, we gotta work hard together to keep all of it high. It's not just one person's work ethic or process. And I understand what you're saying. You said now it's mostly on you. So y'all got to go have the tough conversation.
And realize.
And that goes back to the original premise. Mm-hmm. An apology only can come when there is clarity and understanding. If he was to come to you and apologize and say, "One, I'm so sorry, I didn't do it." Well, okay, he said it.
Do what?
But if he ain't ready to really truly
unpack that with
and do differently, then that apology don't mean nothing. It means nothing.
That's why you would always say, apologize for what?
Apologize for what? What are you apologizing for? Because if this apology is not backed by some real tangible action of truth and clarity and understanding, it's just words. I don't want to hear your damn I'm sorry. What I want to see, what I want is to see your I'm sorry.
But see,
bars.
That's right. I need to see the action.
I don't want to hear it. I want to see it.
All the way back to the beginning. We've always been taught to say I'm sorry, but not
like you said. We're taught a behavior that is empty because it makes peace for the people who are forcing you to say it. But it's never been explained to us clearly of what it should mean for us and the relationship that we're trying to sustain.
That's right.
Yeah. Girl, you preach that thing.
But see,
preach that thing, girl.
That's why I said when we got married, I said we have to unlearn.
We have to
unlearn the way we learned about apologizing, because now we're married. We're together.
Yeah.
And so we need to understand how to properly apologize. And this whole show is about the languages of an apology, because there are some people that's like, wait a minute, I'm still waiting on you to what was it called? I'm waiting on. Oh, I don't know what I did with my things here.
Just leave it alone. Just talk. You're doing good.
I'm waiting for you to accept. I'm waiting for the accountability of the offense. That what I did was wrong, and I am so sorry about that. And what are you gonna do? What are you?
But you can't be accountable to something until you understand what it is. You can't. There's just no way to do that. Okay. And I think we're asking for someone to show ownership to something without stop. Leave that thing. Look, okay, I'm gonna out you now. You have already put together a good show. Just trust your show. You're doing good, mama.
I apologize.
Oh, my baby. She be doubting herself. Like, okay, full disclosure. Mama NOIZ came up with this show. This is her idea. And I think she, feelings like, okay, I want to make sure I put this point. But the dialogue, boo, it's everybody getting what they need right now. Trust the Lord.
Well,
you did good. You're doing good, mama.
I'm going to tell you one thing for sure is the words "I was wrong," man, come on.
And I understand what Dewan is saying too. She said an apology is an empty offering unless it's accepted. But you can't accept it until there's accountability. That's why it's empty. It ain't empty because they meant it and they understand and they're truly ready to reconcile what they've done. Right? They're not trying to hurt you. If they're truly ready to reconcile it done, then now you not accepting it is on you. That's you being stubborn and prideful, and you don't want to accept it because you're angry. That's a whole nother thing. Right?
But you could also help them where you say, I don't know if this is clear, but when we say that it's empty, maybe it sounds empty when that person's doing it from their heart. That person wouldn't want to hurt you, but tell them what it is that they have to do. I mean, what is it that you want? If you're saying
that's true. That's well, and that goes back to that having that tough conversation. You're right. You do have to tell them, or you have to dialogue how we can make this better. That's I think that's a better way to say it.
Right.
You got a dialogue of how we can make this better. Mm-hmm. But again, it works both ways. We're trying to put. Here's the problem. Ooh, I'm about to drop a bar. Y'all ready?
Another bar.
Full disclosure.
Oh,
We're trying to make an apology one-sided.
that's right.
And therein lies the problem. An apology is not a one-sided action. And that's why I had the problem I'm having with the book, because I'm saying, man, you're saying this one guy did this one thing, and that's the only reason why this thing's happened, and now he owes you this thing. Well, that may or may not be true. Usually, there's far more involved in that moment than just the person offending the other person. And if we're not going to unpack the whole thing, then what we're really essentially doing is creating wedges that don't necessarily need to be there. But to me, the apology is the mask that keeps us from dealing with the truth. We got to deal with the truth. And the hard questions, the hard conversations, that's where we're going to get to where we need to. So at the end, the question we asked is an apology, true healing. I forgot how we phrased it. We had a very clever way to phrase it. Mama NOIZ done mixed up all the.
See, I told you.
That's
sorry.
okay, baby. Is an apology true healing?
Right.
I think the apology should be the end results of the healing of authenticity, truth, and understanding and clarity. You got to get to those places first. Then, because I'm going to tell you something. Full disclosure.
Okay.
Me and Mama NOIZ had a discussion the other night. Got a little tight up in here.
Yeah.
But man, once we got some authenticity, some clarity, and some understanding, the joy of the evening for me was looking in my wife's face and her looking in mine, and we both saying to each other, hey, I'm sorry. I got it now. Because when she said I'm sorry in that moment, I knew she said I'm sorry. And then I said, hopefully she felt the same way. I can't speak for her, but I can speak for my receiving it. It's because I'm going back to what Dewana said. I can receive it not as empty, but as completely full, because it's full of her understanding. You feel me? She understood. I understood. That's why I said I'm sorry. I was clear as to what I did wrong, as to what I said wrong, as to how I approached it.
You just said something right then.
Talk to me, Mama.
You can feel it.
Ooh, did I say that?
Yeah.
Oh,
when somebody's apologizing,
you should be able to feel it.
You should be able to feel that is an authentic apology. You can feel whether they're connected to it. This connected to their heart, or their heart is reaching out to connect to yours.
Yeah.
With that apology.
I think so.
And that's the empty part, when you can tell that it's empty, because you're like, I don't feel a connection to that. Or are you even connected to what you just said?
Right.
Because sometimes we just drop it because that's the way we've been taught to do.
Right.
So it says to me that we go all the way back to the root of this thing is communication. Communication. You got to talk about it. We can talk about all day long about, when we first met, you would buy me them Yankee candles every.
I feel like you're trying to drop a seed.
No, I'm saying that's or you would just say, you would just do some random something. Man, that was it back in the day. Why don't you just say, sweetheart, I know we're busy. I know we got a lot going on. I know we got the kids. I know we're running a company. I know we got all these different things going on. As my grandmother called it, all these irons in a fire.
I feel like you're trying to drop something right here on the show.
When I'm speaking from my heart, like I would expect a wife or a husband to speak to that spouse or in that relationship and say, listen, can I don't want to feel like we did all those things in the beginning because we were newlyweds.
Right.
We can still be in the honeymoon phase if we just think about it and just make a conscious effort, intentionally do little things that, remind our spouse that, man, you the one.
Yeah.
I even after all these years, you still do it for me. You still turn me on. You still excite me. You still make me smile. I'm still in love with you. with little things. And I'm not talking about the grandiose, because, that's the first thing somebody's ready to say is, well, I ain't got the kind of money. Okay, well, understand. Little post notes with little
You
stuff.
are dropping something. You spend a whole lot of time on gifts.
No, I'm giving people examples of things.
But it's one example. And it seems like it's geared toward me.
Say it with your chest. If you're feeling guilty, don't feel guilty.
Say it with your chest.
I'm saying, like post notes and stuff. Maybe I saw on a post one time on Facebook that
this is what we're doing right now.
It was a post note put on the steering wheel, for work and right. Little bitty things.
So you're right. We can do the little things, like little things that.
Now, don't get it twisted. Big things are nice.
No.
But I'm just saying.
It's my turn now. It's my turn now. Yeah, we can do little things. Those little things that I like, and meet all of my.
What are some little things? What are some little things that men like?
After 23 years, if you don't know the things,
I'm
just like.
Not saying you. I'm saying what are little things that men like.
I can't speak for all men.
There are ladies and wives and ladies in the chat. So what would be an example of things that men help a sister out?
That's such a hard question, because men are
sometimes complicated. So
no, we're not complicated at all.
Sometimes you can't.
We're not complicated at all. There's nothing complicated about men.
So what? You just want some food in a big old comfy chair?
Men love good sex. Men love good food. Men love their own quiet time, as well as quality time. They want to do stuff with their wives and their families, but they're pretty simple. It's not complicated at all. Yeah, peep show. We like that. Come by and hit us with the wop wop and the whoop wham. Shout out to my guy CT. Just
the bang.
Yeah, the bang. Give us the bang. The bang. The bang. I mean, we pretty simple. But I understand what you're saying. I think the bottom line is we gotta wrap up.
Okay.
We hate to wrap up, but we have to wrap up. It's our show. This is the one show. Two shows, Daddy and the girl in this one, that we're pretty time conscious. But I think the thing is that we have to fight to get to the understanding and clarity, so that the apology is real. And I like what you said, even though you said I said it, but you really said it because you caught what I said. I didn't realize what I said. The apology should be something you can feel. And
the book doesn't even say that.
Well, because it's not a real well-written book. But we gotta be. There's no quick fix to personal healing, guys, and there's no quick fix to relational healing. So yeah, those are 5 suggestions, but those 5 suggestions are the starting gate. They're not the solution. There's no listen. You know what's funny? And I use this analogy on Talking NOIZ. There's all these different diets out there. Mm-hmm. There's all these different alliterations of diets and if you pills and all this different stuff. And at the end of the day, the number one thing that everybody knows that is surefire, 100% will help you lose weight, will help you get, the weight off and get in shape and help your heart and help your sugar, as your mama and them say, yo sugar and all that stuff, is 2 things: eating right and exercise. At the end of the day, eating right and exercise is still going to win. But that's the one thing we don't want to do. We keep avoiding.
And water.
Okay. You want to throw water in. That's not the point.
People don't like drinking
water. Mama NOIZ, that's not the point.
Oh, okay.
The point I'm making is we want to avoid the hard thing.
Yes, we do.
Would you stop, woman?
Oh.
So bad. We want to avoid the hard thing, which is communication. Mm-hmm. There's no quick fix to communication. Mm-hmm. There isn't. And you cannot avoid hard conversations if you want healing in your marriage. You can. In your friendships, you can. You can't be my friend if we can't ever have a hard conversation. I'm sorry. We can't be friends. We can be associates. I know you. We cool. But my friends, I can talk to them about hard stuff.
Well, we're going to close out with a response to Dewana's question. Let's post it for everybody.
All right, put it up there.
Duana says, that's my point. When you get a new car, you clean it, you wash it, you detail it, you wax it on the regular. And over time, as the car gets older, you do minimum to maintain it. Oil change, tires, with the same marriage, consistent maintenance.
I disagree. 100%.
Okay.
You don't do minimum to maintain it. You do everything. You said, Duana, that the same things it took when you got it is the same thing. And that's true. And here's how I know that to be true. Mm-hmm. Just last weekend, if you saw my Java talk this morning, I realized that our alternator needed to be changed. Yeah. The parts of the car don't get newer as time goes on. Mm-hmm. They get older and they wear down and they have to be replaced. My point is, maintenance checks are required. Heavy duty maintenance checks. The last thing you want to do is let your marriage go on in a certain direction for too long and then there's a breakdown on the side of the road.
Wow.
And that's the danger. We always let marriage go on and we don't have the hard conversations and we don't tell our spouses exactly what it is that's pissing us off. And then at the end of it all, we're on the side of the road going, oh my God, how did we get here?
But we also need to realize it's okay to be
vulnerable. I'm not fussing at Duana, but I'm just saying.
It's also okay to be vulnerable in your marriage and ask for help. Listen, I need your help. You know what I'm saying? I need your help. And if there's an area that you feel you're being overwhelmed in and you need help in that area, let's talk about it.
No, I agree. I guess what I'm saying is it is hard work to keep a marriage healthy.
With air quotes.
I don't even want to say.
Marriage is hard work.
Marriage is hard work, and you got to work.
But it's a joint effort.
It's a joint effort.
Because when I thought about the car example, I thought about what if if it's only one person that's doing all these things to the car, and then if the other one stops doing it, then the car it's just going, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Whereas the same way with marriage, both people have to do the maintaining.
Yeah.
It can't be one person doing all the maintaining. Then, of course, the person doing all the maintaining is going to feel overwhelmed and feel like.
But the only way to know and to verify that we all got to work at it is through communication. We have to talk about the hard thing. How many times you been avoiding that coworker at work who's lazy as hell and don't pull their own weight? And does it ever change? Do they ever start pulling their weight when you don't talk to them about it? No, because you won't talk to them about it. You expecting your husband or your wife to do something different and y'all ain't talking about it. Y'all got to talk.
Let me throw this in for free because I saw Duana.
We got to wrap it up.
I know, but I saw Duana's thing.
You may have to get on the side.
No, but I'm going to make it quick.
It feels like
you're
just dragging on.
Duana said to keep bringing the flowers and Yankee candles. Listen. This man does so much for me. I am spoiled. I am a spoiled woman. I confess. I'll get a t-shirt that says I am a spoiled wife. I will wear that because it is facts. I mean, the fact to me, and see, the fact that I'm not one of those, like I said, I've said it before, I'm not one of those type of people that need all the bling bling and all of this, that, and so on. I'm talking about when I get, I know he loves me when he brings home some avocados. I love avocados. He don't have to think about me at the grocery store. He can say, you know what? All we need is eggs and butter. You know what I'm saying? But he says, let me get Kenyatta's chai tea. Let me get Kenyatta some avocados. Let me get, though. And us as wives, as women, we got to be able to appreciate our spouse for everything that they do, not just the big things. I know I want the flowers and candles. That's fine. But guess what? I appreciate him for everything. I appreciate him for going out, taking our daughter to school on those mornings when it's just so cold outside. And I appreciate that type of stuff. I appreciate the picking up the detergent on the way home. I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate the extra, my wife, just little things, these, and we can't let them be swept under the rug like it's so little. We are supposed to be their cheerleaders. And I know sometimes the cheerleader might get tired and be like, dang, somebody cheer for me. But listen, don't stop cheering.
Well, I will say this, and I'm going to close after this because this one's going to go on forever.
All right, I'm
done. If you become your husband's biggest cheerleader, he'll play better. Because we love to hear the cheer of the crowd.
I think I heard Bishop Jackson.
Nope. I said I'm closing.
Man,
I'm closing.
He was just
I am closing. As I hasten to a close. We love y'all. Y'all just got to come back for more next week. That's just how this works.
What are we going to talk about?
Well, we're going to talk about Love is Blind, but we always mix in some good stuff for that too. So I promise you, some of this probably going to spill into that too because of the stuff that they got going on. Lord have mercy. But go ahead and watch the new episodes and the finale next week, and we'll be ready to
on
talk
Netflix.
About it. On Netflix, yes. All right, love y'all. Thanks, boo. Perfect. Give Mama NOIZ a round of applause, please, for an amazing job that she did planning this show. She did. I thought you did your third thing, girl. It was all right, man.
Well, thank you.
Proud of you, man. I'll holler at y'all. You should ever leave.